Welcome to the yoga practice. Some of you already practicing the supported fish position to mobilize the thoracic spine. And if you're just joining us or using the recording, let us just move the support that we had under the mid back away. And let us come into the flat back position. You're welcome to start with slightly bent knees to set pelvis in a comfortable position. And take your arms on the sides of your hips and maybe extend your legs when you're ready to extend them. Just take a moment here to settle in the supine position. Let us have a couple of breaths together to emphasize the beginning of the practice. Taking the breath in through the nostrils, taking the breath out through the nostrils. Allowing the rib cage to expand with the passive extension that some of you practice. You feel already a bit of the release on the front of the body, hopefully, and your shoulders stretch a little bit to have more of external rotation. Allow yourself to relax the spine. And then let us connect to the right foot and draw your attention from the right foot to the right hip. Become aware of how your right hip right now released on the floor. Get this connection to your right hip. Maybe take a couple of exhales to, with the gravity, release it down to the floor. And then we're going to do the same with the left. From the left foot, draw your attention to your left hip. And try to relax your left hip down to the floor. So take a moment to feel that your hips are symmetrically parallel to the edge of the mat, relaxed down, how you feel in your lower back, how you relaxed in your abdomen when you exhale. The next one, we will, from the right palm, draw our awareness to the right shoulder. So why is from the palm? So just check how your palm is turned towards the ceiling. And play a little bit with the forearm, palm, elbow position to maybe create more grounding through the right shoulder blade. So work a little bit more on extension, on the external rotation of the right shoulder. So like feel like you are opening the shoulder out a little bit. And then just draw a couple of exhales toward the right shoulder blade. Ground the shoulder blade to the floor. We will then do the same with the left palm, and from the left palm, bring your awareness to the left shoulder blade, and again, play a little bit, hopefully to feel symmetrical in your both shoulders, so maybe rotate your palm, forearm, elbow slightly, or play with the position of the elbow to get a little bit more of external rotation of the left shoulder. And then take a couple of exhales toward the left shoulder blade to ground us to the floor. And then I would invite you to think of four corners, 2 hips and 2 shoulders, like creating imaginary rectangular from those four joints. And just keep everything inside relaxed, your spine and all your core muscles. Let's have here a couple of more exhales. So while we're on the floor, that will be our anatomical position. Slightly externally rotated hips are starting from the toes, slightly externally rotated shoulders starting from the palms. And then I would invite you to get your left arm where it's more comfortable, maybe more relaxed, maybe you forced a little bit, your shoulder in external rotation, and take your right arm into Y position. So get into the right top corner of the mat, straight arm. And then we're going to start moving. So with an inhale, we're going to stretch the arm, and then on exhale, we're going to bring the right palm across the torso toward the left hip. And just feel, some of you will reach the hip bone, some maybe not. So just feel how you're stretching the area of the triceps and back of the shoulder. And we're going to do it 5 more times. So inhale, stretch the tip of the fingers toward this top right corner. And then with exhale, move the arm across the body. There's no right or wrong thing to do that. Just do what feels right. Inhale, stretch, and exhale, go across. So having a bit of an internal rotation of the shoulder and stretch behind the shoulder blades. Inhale and exhale, stretch. And then we're going to take the right arm into T position, palm facing the ceiling. And we'll do the same one, but this time we're going to go across the body as far to the left side. Maybe, well, hopefully most of you will touch the floor. So feel all the stretch behind the right shoulder blade. And then on exhale, release the arm back. Let's inhale, stretch a little bit, feel a bit of stretch on the front of the chest, and exhale, cross. Hold here on inhale, and on exhale, release. We have 3 more. Inhale, exhale. And then inhale and exhale, release the arm. Inhale, stretch the tip of the fingers away from the torso, and then exhale, cross, and try to reach a little bit to have a stretch, and exhale, release the arm. Last time, walk with your fingers a little bit away, stretch the front, and then exhale, stretch slightly the back. And then let's release the right arm symmetrically to your left arm. And just scan again your 4 corners. See where the awareness right now, where you feel more sensation in which corner. And we're going to do the same with the left arm, obviously. So we're going to start with the Y. Bring the left arm into the Y position. And just stretch a little bit, and then exhale, go across the body. You can even, we didn't do it with the right side, but I will suggest with the left, maybe reach to your left wrist and slightly pull the left palm with the right hand. And then again, inhale, stretch. You can go a little bit faster, a little bit slower. It's up to you. I want you just to work with the shoulder from the arm movement and noticing what's happening with the shoulder blade, with the back of the body. Because when we're on standing, we don't have any reference. Here, for the reference, we have the floor. Again, inhale and exhale, go across. And here we have a last time. Inhale into Y. And exhale, have it across the body. And then we're going to do it with a T. So bring the left arm into T position. First, just stretch. Maybe your elbow even comes off the floor. And then exhale, cross it in front of the chest, trying to reach to the floor. So I can see that my left tip of the finger is not touching the floor. So I'm helping a little bit with my right hand. So it obviously showing me my left shoulder has less mobility. So inhale and exhale. And it's maybe not even shoulder, but it's my shoulder blade. I have a little bit of the tightness around the left shoulder blade. Inhale, so just see if you can reach to the floor, or like me, you have some restrictions on the left that are very possible, as the left shoulder usually a bit tighter and a bit weaker. We're not using the left arm as much. So one more time, go stretch, and then take the arm across, and let us release. So take a moment to readjust your shoulder blades, readjust your shoulders, and then let us bend the knees, bring the knees to your chest. So just a bit of the release of the lower back here, as we would like to massage the lower back. We were in the lying position for a bit. And let us do the circular movement of the hip. So extend your left leg and keep your right knee bent. And just simply, with the help of the right hand, rotate your knee around. So you're just mobilizing your right hip a little bit. So open the knee to the side, and then maybe touching the floor when the knee comes up toward the ceiling. Then cross the knee toward the left, then press it, so have a little bit of compression here in the hip flexor, and then continue. So let's go roughly 5 circles this direction, so you start feeling the lubrication happening in the right hip. You're checking how far you can go into the external rotation without lifting the left hip off the floor. And yes, here we are going, and then we'll do the same with the left. So bend your left knee, interlace the hands on the top of the left knee, slightly press it, and then start with opening the knee to the side, and then go across, and do that again. So again, roughly 5 circles, just to let the hips know we will move them. We will need some flexibility from this area of the body, and let us release, and then we'll just bend the knees and rock into the seated position, or just go through the side into seated position, and let us come into the tabletop position. So set your hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and when you're ready, allow yourself to flow through the movement of the spine. And after you just release a little bit the lower back, and your thoracic spine should be already warmed up if you had this passive stretch. I want you to pay attention how you're moving your shoulder blades when you're coming from one position to another. So when you come to the cat stretch, think of like hugging yourself with the shoulder blades, dropping the head down. And as you come to the dog stretch, try to squeeze them as much as you can, keeping the neck long. So don't allow the trapezius to be lifted. No shrugging in shoulders. So pay a little bit more attention to the movement of the shoulder blades as you're trying to move your spine from flexion to extension. And let us come to the neutral position, and bring the knees together. We will extend the left leg back, and first just bring the right hand in front, touching the floor with the tip of the fingers. And before we're going to lift the foot and the hand, I want you to embrace your core. Maintain the neutral spine, and then using the left glute to activate and lift your left foot off the floor, and lift your right hand off the floor. Align the head with the arm, and make sure that you're not letting the right shoulder to come toward the ear. Just slightly drop it down. So first we're going to just hold the static position, and let's release. Let us build that on the other side. So extend your right leg, flex the foot, And first just touch the floor with the left tip of the fingers. Embrace your core, so now collapse with the belly down, and then engage your right glute and lift your right leg off the floor. Keep your hamstring really tight, and then release, lift your left arm up, and then just work to hold the arm from the muscles around the shoulder blades. Here, the upper back is really engaged to hold the arm. Keep your breath light, and let's release. So we will come back to the same position with the left leg and the right hand, but this time when we lift the foot, we're going to point the toe and we lift the arm. We're going to stretch forward and backward, and then on exhale we bring the right elbow and the left knee together. And again, inhale, stretch, but you're maintaining your embraced core, so you're not collapsing with the belly. And then compress. Again, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale, stretch, and then exhale, compress, and then come to the tabletop position and a neutral spine. Again, we're gonna have first the foot and the hand prepared for that. And when you're lifting the right leg, you're pointing the toes this time because you want to stretch. And then compress, bring the elbow and knee together. And then stretch. And then bring the elbow and knee together. One more time, stretch. And elbow and knee together. One more time, stretch. And elbow and knee together. And then come to the tabletop position. So maybe at this point we want to have a bit of a release of the wrist. So bring the back of the palms to the floor and stretch your forearms. Just a contour pose for the wrist. Okay, and then we'll again come into the tabletop position. This time make sure that your knees are again into hip distance. Tuck your toes. Just a bit of their core activation here, so make sure that you start with a pressing the floor away with your arms, engaging your triceps, really having a strong upper back, and then tuck your toes and lift your knees off the floor, maintaining neutral spine, so no rounding here. Holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees down to the floor. Take your knees slightly apart. Drop your hips, stretch your arms in front, and practice here more active child position, working your fingers away, feeling some space between the shoulder blades. So maybe try to walk your fingers forward, shrug your shoulders, so allow your shoulder blades to be lifted, and then think of dropping the shoulder blades down. So walking the fingers and then move them down. So see how that works for you. So again, activate a little bit the area around the shoulder blades here. So couple of times. So just think of your downward dog, how you do this in downward dog, but without any weight on your arms, hands for now. And then let us walk the hands to the left. You can hold your right wrist with the left hand and try to ground your right shoulder down, ground your right hip down. Feel the stretch around the rib cage, and just feel nice stretch. And then let us walk back to the center and do this on the other side. Walk your hands to the right and ground your shoulder here. And then let's return back to the center. Walk your hands closer to the knees. So if you're comfortable to be on the knees, you can be on the knees. If not, there's a 2 variations. So you can have 2 blocks and bring them under your hips. So basically what this position will do is to just release some flexion from your knees. If this is not working for you for ankle or knee position, you can just come into the cross leg position. Okay? So something that's working for you. I really would encourage you to try those blocks here under the hips and sit this way. And yeah, keep your spine straight. You actually might want, if you're with the side to the camera, rotate to face the front of the camera for now. It will be just a little bit easy for me to see how you're moving with your arm and for you to check the movement. Okay, so after we found the seated position, let us take the right arm parallel to the floor, palm facing the screen, okay? And I want you to connect to your right shoulder and just see how you feel. It's like more or less natural position for the shoulder, like not so much of external rotation, not so much of internal rotation, like a normal. Let's take the arm overhead, palm facing the front. Try to keep your elbows straight. And then think a little bit of a slide in the shoulder blades down and just check how you feel. This is a very functional movement, right? If we want to reach something overhead, that's how we're holding the arm. And now here, we're gonna start moving the arm across the face and notice how naturally we want to turn the palm toward the back, right? So palm is facing now the torso, shoulder comes into the internal rotation, and we're completing the circle to bring the arm again back here. Okay, we're gonna do it 2 more times. Lift the arm up, and then just go across, checking how your shoulder feels. Try not to lift the shoulder, try to do it in isolation, and bring the palm facing the front. 1 more time. Lift it up, and then go across, and bring the arm back here. Going with the left arm. Very simple, very functional movement. Just want to have more awareness in those movements so you will understand maybe limitations. So lift the left arm up and just check here if you lifted this up with a trapezius shoulder blade. So try to find something in the middle, something that's comfortable, and then start moving the arm across and notice how naturally you want to turn the palm toward the back. And your shoulder comes with internal rotation, and then you pass it in front of the body, and then this feels naturally to rotate the palm to the front. Again, lift the arm up. Yes, I can give you here a hint. You can use the other hand again, like we did it for the left arm on the floor, to kind of guide it, so you feel that you going parallel to the imaginary screen, and come here. And last time, lift and go across. So here is like slightly pulling, and release and come back. Great. Let us try to start with internal rotation of the shoulder. So the palm is facing the back right away. And try to lift your arm like that. You definitely feel restrictions here. So just notice, so your palm is not facing the back anymore. It's probably facing the right side. And just keep it where it feels natural. You can just note the angle of the palm. And then we're gonna go with the palm in front of us, palm facing front. And as we bring it here, the palm facing the back. So we don't have any restrictions. The restrictions that we find in is here, right? So shoulder can't be, arm can be in extension, and shoulder can be in external rotation. This is indication from the palm, and just go across and bring it again back here. And last time, lift it up, check, yes, here I'm in some external rotation, so here shoulder comes, but we can keep the palm facing the front and come here. Okay, we're gonna do it with the left arm. So bring the left arm parallel to the floor, palm facing the back. Lift the arm up. You might feel even more restrictions here, right? So your arm is not going this high, you may be stopping here. That's fine. And start going across the body. And because we already discovered that the left shoulder has less mobility, you might help a little bit with the right arm to just go with the palm parallel to the screen in front of you, and then bring the arm back here. 2 more times here. And this is a really mobility exercise, mobility awareness of the shoulder. And I like to add, shoulders is a lot of restrictions, and very often shoulder restrictions that would making our practice uncomfortable, making our practice challenging. And we would like to address that. And release. Great. So from here, we're gonna come again into the tabletop position. And I will just remind you this move. We didn't practice this for a long time. It's the hip rotations in the tabletop position. And I will remind you how we were building the wall around the left shoulder and the left palm to give us awareness that we're not compensating, not collapsing to the left. So I'll show you one more time here, the frontal view. You bring your knee to your chest, then you open the hip and you go circular movement into extension, making hips and shoulders face the front, and then release. Okay, I want you to do 3 times each direction. So first you start with the knee in, and then you start with the knee out and bring it here. So 3 for the right leg, I'm going to do 3 for the left leg. Go on your own pace. Again, going as slow as possible. Controlling your torso to be in neutral position. So bringing the knee in, opening that and not collapsing to the left, keeping both elbows straight. Going a huge circle with that right knee. Bring it behind. Keep your shoulders and hips facing front. And then release. Going backward, you first extending your hip, knee goes up, and then you start opening, trying. Here is the position where shin is parallel to the floor, and then you bring the knee in, engaging the hip flexors to keep the thigh closed, and release. And going again, this is probably the last time. We go backward. Here, controlling that when we come into this position, the hips and shoulders facing the front, and release, and going backward, and bring it in, and release. So here we are exploring this connection between left shoulder and the left hip. And we'll go on the other side. So if you're using the blocks like I do, like a wall, like a restriction, bring them to be parallel to the right arm and right shoulder. Reset your knees, reset your tabletop position, and let us bring the left knee in. Open this to the side. Control your right shoulder, left shoulder. Go with the knee, all this big circle. Bring the knee behind, and then release. Going backward, you will extend the hip, and then start opening the hip to the left side, and then trying to engage the hip flexor, really trying to keep the thigh close to the rib cage in front, and release. And 2 more times. Go on your own pace. So this time, this hip rotation is more challenging, more defined, involving much more of the rest of the body to comparison to one that we had flat on the floor. So go in last time. And let's release. So after you finish your 3, make sure your blocks are in front of the mat, and we'll come into the tabletop position. So setting your feet, tabletop position, and then into the downward dog. So coming into the downward dog, and in your downward dog, I'm inviting you to pay attention to how you're holding your shoulder blades. If you can, really think of stabilizing your shoulders by activating the muscles around the shoulder blades. Usually that comes with the shoulder blades sliding toward the base of the spine. Shake your head. Take another moment here, and then look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Hand here for the breath. Allow a bit of a stretch of the hamstrings. Relax your arms and let us go up into standing position. Exhale. So in a standing position, set your feet hip distance and bring your palms facing the front. So very similar to the position that we practice lying on the floor here. And let's, with inhale, lift the arms up. And let us hold here for the moment. Remember, we already practiced this position in a seated. Now we have a pelvis free. So see if your palms could be facing each other, elbows straight. Bring the palms together, hinge from the hips. Exhale, fold. Release your head. Allow yourself a nice stretch, like a waterfall along the spine. Trying to relax all those tight muscles of posterior chain. And then bring the hands to the shins and lift the chest halfway, making sure that you are in neutral position. And then bring your toes, heels together. And bring your left hand slightly across the right knee. Bring the right hand to your lower back. Keep your left shoulder facing midline of the mat. Very gently twist to the right. Very gently. Your lower back is not twisting. Twist happening in your thoracic spine. And unfold. Take a moment to elongate through the spine. Bring the right hand against your left knee. Left hand to your lower back. And twist to the left. Try to keep your shoulder, right shoulder facing the midline of the mat. And then unfold. Let us split the feet again back into the hip distance and fold forward. Exhale. Drop the head. Take in the breath. And then walk your hands a bit forward. Walk your feet a little bit backward and come into the downward dog. Exhale here. Then drop the knees down to the floor and step your right foot forward into 90-90 lunge. Lift your torso up. Make sure you're in a neutral position here. Let's take the arms parallel to the front of the mat. And I want you to make a fist. And now here you start twisting. And just imagine that with your palms, you're holding the stick that is behind your back. So you're not moving your arm. The stick is going parallel to the arms and hold here. So hips are facing front and rotation happening in the thoracic spine. Your face, your nose aligned with the center of the chest. Unfold back. And let's bring the hands on the floor and tuck the left toes and step into downward dog. Exhale, long spine. Taking another exhale, dropping the knees down to the floor, stepping the left foot forward. Again, we're starting with the neutral position of the spine into those 90 lunge. Bring the arms parallel, make a fist, and twist to the left. So you're not going to be parallel to the long side of the mat. Right, you probably will be close to 45 degree rotation. You're keeping your arms straight, really holding strong fists. Unfold back, bring the hands on the floor, tuck your right toes, and step into the downward dog. Exhale, long spine. Taking the breath, looking forward and walking to the front of the mat. Setting the feet hip distance. And very slowly roll up into standing position. Exhale. Taking the breath. Let's flow again. Inhale. Lift the arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale. Folding forward. Releasing the head down. This time stepping the left foot back and dropping the left knee down to the floor. So coming into the wider lunge. Wide as much as your left hip like it. And use the block onto the left hand. Bring your right elbow to the right knee. Start with aligning your shoulders and hips to the short edge of the mat. And then keeping the shoulder above the block. Bring the right hand to the right side and rotate. And here I want to do it in a more dynamic way. So I want you to release and then twist. Inhale and exhale, twist. inhale, and exhale, twist last time, inhale, and exhale, twist, and then let yourself to find your downward dog. So trying to release the spine from the twist every time, maybe finding another millimeter of the length in your thoracic spine after the twists. And then exhale, drop the knees down to the floor, step your left foot forward and find the block. So first start with, like, even your forearm could be aligned with the front of the mat, and then we'll bring the left hand to the thigh to give us space to rotate, so it feels like a massaging twist, and then return back to the alignment of the front. Inhale, exhale, twist, inhale, exhale, twist, inhale, exhale, twist. And one more time, inhale, exhale, twist. And then we'll be finding our next downward dog. Every time in downward dog, pay attention to position of your shoulder blades, head, taking the breath, and then look forward and walk to the front of the mat. Just hang here for the breath, and then let's slowly come up into standing position. Exhale. So let us practice here this dynamic movement, also using our strength of the core and our stability of the hip for keeping the balance. I'm going to demonstrate the movement. So we all know that our balance comes from stability of the right hip, right leg, and the core. So before you even lift your left leg, you're really stabilizing this right hip. And we will lift the knee. And we're going to start with the arms parallel. And then we're going to bring the knee across, arm across, and then we open. And then bring it across, and then we open. Okay, so it will be challenging. I want you to visualize like a center of this pose through the midline of the body, and be really stable in the right hip. Okay, so let us start. Bring the body weight to the right foot and stabilize your right hip by engaging the glute. Lift your left knee, take your arms parallel. That's going to help you to keep the balance, and bring your knee across, right arm across, so they meet here, and then you open the knee and the arm, and then you again bring it in, engage the core. A lot of embracing of the core happening. Very stable right hip, open, and again go and open. Keep this right hip helping you to stabilize. Core embraced here. This is the 4. And one more time. Breathing in and out. Excellent. Shake your leg. So you feel right now a lot of a work of the right hip to stabilize you, and some release of the left hip and right shoulder. We're going to go to the left side. Right away I can tell that left side might be more challenging for me, for sure. I can lose my balance because of this weakness of the whole, less connection to the whole left side of my body. So let us stabilize the left hip. We're going to start with the arms in T. That's going to help you to balance. Lift your right knee and bring the knee across, left arm across, and then open. Yeah, you see I'm losing the balance. My left ankle is not cooperating. And bring it across and open. And bring it across and 3. One more time. Cross and 4 and cross and 5. Hold and release. Shake your legs. So you definitely feel that your core worked, and this is a great example how core strengths are helping us to maintain the balance. Let's return back to the front of the mat, and we'll come to another flow. Take your arms on the sides of the hips. Find your breath, and with inhale, lift your arms up. Bring the palms together. Exhale, hinge forward, releasing the head down to the floor. Stepping the left foot back and this time staying in a high lunge. Bring the block onto the left shoulder. You can go with the high end. Have just the tip of the fingers on the block. Make sure that the stability comes from the back leg, and let us twist. Bring the right hand to your lower back. Rotate your right shoulder as far back as you can, and then finding your balance from the core and the back leg. Let's take the left arm forward, and if you can, extend your right arm back. It's like you reach into the both direction and press your left heel down. Feel some stretch in the hips, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And fold, bring the hands to the floor and step to the downward dog. Exhale, taking the breath, flowing into plank. Let's have this first plank just stable. Press the floor, half the space between the shoulder blades. Engage your glutes, pull the belly in, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come back into the downward dog. Exhale. On next inhale, step your left foot forward. Take your time to find the proper depth of your lunge. Have the block under the right hand. Lift your torso. So start with finding that the legs here supporting you. So just the tip of the fingers touching the block. Bring the left hand to your lower back and twist to the left. Work first with the left shoulder external rotation. You do have a fold forward. Back leg is really stable. Then lift your right arm going forward, and if you can, take your left arm back and think of rotating your torso by reaching with the hands to the both direction. Holding 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unfold and step into downward dog. Exhale. Long spine. Again, every time we come to downward dog today is the ability to create traction in spine, creating another millimeter or half millimeter or tenth of millimeter of length in the spine. On inhale, come into the plank, and here you support the spine with all the muscles of the body, front and back, glutes, hamstrings working. Push the floor, and then let us drop the knees down to the floor for the moment, and then press the hips back and come into child pose, taking the breath here, catching the breath. Exhale. And then we'll look forward and we'll come into the downward dog. Just to step forward and finding the way to come into the standing position. Go slow. And when you are already in a standing position, let us use both blocks on the both sides of the right foot. We're coming into pyramid pose. So in a pyramid pose, you want to maintain your hips square to the front, and very often that comes from the back foot turned forward as much as you can, especially if you don't have a lot of mobility of the ankle. And poking into the hip flexors, you're going to come into fold, bringing the tip of the fingers to the block. So work your best way to pull the right thigh bone into the right hip, and at the same time reaching with the left shoulder forward. So I don't want you to be rounded. I'm going to be with my right side. So I don't want you to be rounded, and you have one hip in front of the other and one shoulder higher than the other. You're trying to get your best square rectangle here with the 2 shoulders and 2 hips. The restrictions comes here with a very tight right hamstring. So work your best to stretch it here. Lengthening forward. So if I'm going to bring the glass of water on your lower back, it's not going to be split because your lower back is absolutely flat. And then bring your hands to the thigh. So lift your torso, probably like you right now with your torso 45 degrees. Your hips are still square. Bring your left hand against your right knee. Bring the right hand to your lower back and start twisting. This twist will be much more restricted than the twist we just practiced. And that's okay. I want you to maintain your mid back straight, right? So you're not doing your twist with a rounded back. If you need, you're almost like staying up straight and rotating here. So find the angle with which you are folding forward that allows you to rotate. Unfold back. Let us come to the a pyramid pose again with the tip of the fingers on the blocks. Work with your hips to square. And then just lift yourself up and we'll change. Step in the left foot in between the blocks. Step in the right foot forward. Squaring the hips here. Hinging from the hips coming down, and take your time. So maybe for some of you, blocks is too low. You might want to stop a little bit higher, especially on the left side because the left hamstring usually a bit tighter. You can even use your left hand to kind of press the left hip further back. So again, flat lower back. And just hold here to, first of all, stretch your hamstring. At the same time, use the oblique strength here to maintain your torso straight. And then bring your hands to your thigh, lift your torso. I'm pretty sure most of us will need to lift the torso pretty high, and then keep your right hand against the left knee, bring the left hand to your lower back and twist. Work with the left shoulder back. It's a very restricted pose. So this is kind of preparation for the revolved triangle, the pose that I'm not teaching very often, but today for our class theme is just a great one to understand the shoulder hip relationship. And unfold back, have their pyramid pose here, shoulders and hips parallel, and then step to the front and unfold, exhale. So let us have one more flow to go down on the floor. So when you're ready, with inhale, lift the arms up. Then hinge from the hips, exhale, folding forward, releasing the head. Step in the left foot back and lifting the torso all the way up. Grounding yourself through the back leg. Bring the hands behind the back of the head, opening the elbows wide. And let us twist to the right. And maybe if you like, you can go more dynamic stretch, feeling all this stretch even all the way through the left hip. Unfold to the center, bring the hands on the floor, and step into downward dog. Exhale. On next inhale, step in the left foot forward into lunge. Taking your time to find your stable lunge. Lifting torso up. Bring the hands behind the back of the head. Opening the elbows and twisting to the left. And again, I like to go more dynamic stretch here. All this right side right now feels opening. And then come back to the center. Bring the hands on the floor and step into downward dog. Exhale. On inhale, flow into plank. Hold the plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop the knees and come into the child pose. Exhaling, relaxing the shoulders, catching the breath if need. Allow a bit passive stretch for the lower back again. Taking the breath. And then let us come into seated position on the block with the left leg straight and the right knee bent. Interlacing the hands on the top of the left knee, flexing the left foot. Sitting really tall. And hips have to be grounded. When we start twisting, hugging the right knee with the left hand and holding the right arm behind, we continue to keep our hips be grounded and twisting through the midsection of the spine. Keeping shoulders parallel to each other. And now try to apply a little bit more of a core strength, so you don't really need your left hand and your right hand to hold yourself, but bring your arms in a cactus pose. Ooh, a lot of restriction in the right shoulder probably. Hold it here in your cactus pose. Hold and try to use your core strength to maintain spine straight, and let's unfold. Let us go to the other side. Extend your right leg, bend your left knee. Interlace the hands, keep yourself tall. So let us first find the twist. Bring the left hand behind, twisting to the left. Exhale here, and then start finding the core strength. It's like you're pressing the rib cage into the thigh, and you don't really need your arms. You bring your arms in the cactus pose. It might be less twist, but I want you to use this active twist position rather than using your arms. And keep lengthening and hold the twist. And unfold back. Great. Let us release the block, and we'll come lie on the back, bending the knees, and maybe a rocking first, just massaging the lower back, releasing the spine. And then let us bring the feet together, heels toward the groin, opening the knees. And as we hold in this Baddha Konasana position, I would invite you to make sure that you have your lower back in neutral, so you're not lifting the tailbone off the floor. Even is for some of you, you might need to split your feet and keep them apart, but focus more on your lower back. And then let's lift the feet up into the happy baby. Same work for the lower back. If you have trouble to hold your feet, hold your ankle, or even you can just hold your knees, behind the knees here, but maintain the neutral spine. Feeling some stretch on the glutes as well, hamstrings, external rotation of the shoulders. And then let us lift the legs, straight legs up, and cross the right leg in front of the left. So create an X, and then reach to your ankles and bend your knees. Here is no right or wrong. I rather want you to be more relaxing your left shoulder. So don't emphasize holding your right ankle with the left hand. You might just interlace the hands somewhere on the top of the knee and just press the knees toward the chest. So I want you to practice this pose. It's a very asymmetrical pose because of the hip limitation, internal rotation. I want you to think of 4 corners, 2 shoulders and 2 hips, and somewhere in between you have this shoelace pose for the knees. So a lot of a stretch happening right now on the lateral side of the right hip. And let's release the legs up, and then cross the left in front of the right, bend your knees. And again, don't work too hard with the right arm. Think of grounding the right shoulder down. And let's release the legs. Bring them first feet flat on the floor, then extend your legs. Keep them together and extend your arms. Take a moment to ground your four corners here to start with, and then let's go to Bananasana. Moving your heels to the left, crossing the right ankle on the top of the left leg, and then moving shoulders and head to the left, holding the right wrist and creating nice opening through the whole right side of the body. And be aware of your right shoulder and the right hip not to roll off the floor. So sometimes it means that we need to slightly release the hold, slightly release the side bend. Return back to the center, rearrange your heels, and then we'll go to the other side from the midline, walking your heels to the right, crossing the left ankle, moving your shoulders to the right, holding the left wrist, grounding the left shoulder. And let's return back to the center. Maybe you need to bend your knees and play with your shoulder position. And then we'll lift the legs and arms up and shake them a little bit. So activating lymphatic system. So really relax the muscles and shake, 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 shake. Feel your wrists, feel your elbows, a little bit of your shoulders. Same for the legs, ankles, knees, and a little bit of the hips. And then just drop the legs, let them go quite wide in the heels. Let your toes fall apart. And then I'll play a little bit with lifting the upper back and squeezing the shoulder blades to find the position of opening of the chest. And here, experiment with the arms, going from the T into the M to the side of the hips to find where you feel comfortable in your shoulders. So with the knowledge that you maybe received today on the mobility of your shoulders, you now will know what is the most comfortable position for the arm and shoulder combination on the floor. Let's take a couple of long exhales, and through exhales, think of grounding your body through the heels, hips, shoulders, palms, and the back of your head. Think of the beautiful star. The whole back of the body is making the star on the soft surface. Imagine that you are on the sand and you're just letting the body to be heavy and melt into the sand. Keep your breath light and keep your mind focusing on sensations and emotions that are arising, rather than allowing your mind to start planning your day. gentle moves returning through there, wiggling the fingers and toes and circles and wrists and ankles. Bend your elbows, bend your knees. Maybe drop the knees from side to side in windshield manner. Maybe hug yourself with the right arm on the top, then maybe with the left arm on the top. Finding the way to roll on one side on your own pace and come into seated position. Taking the moment here, and bring the hands in front of the heart. Thank yourself for being able to practice this morning. And take this positive vibe to be your guide through this a little bit chilly day, but pretty sunny. So hopefully you will have a lot of energy to continue with your daily activities. Namaste.